Hello and welcome to the New England Job Show. My name is Brian Henchy, and with us today is Mike Ambassador Bruny. He's originally from Brooklyn, New York. He runs a professional personal coaching firm focused mainly on helping young adults through life transitions. Mike helps them become more marketable, gain clarity, and focus on their most important goals through one-on-one coaching, speaking engagements, and workshops. And Mike also is an author of the book Move the Crowd, 30 Days of Hip-Hop Affirmations to Change Your Life. And for personal and professional development tips, you can connect with him on his website, Ambassador Bruny, that's BRUNY.com. And Mike, Ambassador Bruny, welcome to the New England Job Show.
Thank you so much for having me, Brian.
Sure. So why don't we start off, tell us a little bit about your background and where you come from.
Okay. As you mentioned, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, a young man who went to school upstate New York, so quite a change. Went to Hartwick College, studied psychology there. Then went on to grad school at UMass Amherst, studied sport management, and from there just kind of been working in different fields, both sports and otherwise.
Great. You have come to us primarily as someone who helps people through lots of different things going on in their lives, and of course here at the New England Job Show, our purpose is to help people who are looking for jobs. And to give as much information as we can to people who are in career transitions. So what is it that, well, why don't we start with, where is it that you recommend people start when they are doing a job search, and how can they be successful in looking to do what they're trying to do?
Great question. The first place that I would suggest anyone start really is inward. I think there's a lot of focus on what to do, but really the focus on more who do you need to be in order to get a job. There's tons of resources that will point you towards websites and how-tos, but my focus is really on who do you need to be in order to be successful in that journey.
So when you start out with yourself, I know you have your special formula. I don't know if we have that slide, but can you tell us a little bit about the first part of your equation, the N word standing for, or the N standing for networking? Could you tell us about that?
Definitely. So the formula, just so people know what it is in its entirety.
Right, we just had it up. Yep.
The N stands for networking, as you mentioned, and the hyphen there is there on purpose. And it's because I really want people to look at networking as physically having a net in their possession, just like fishermen, and having to throw that out and letting it work for them. So a lot of times we know different people, but we don't necessarily act on those things. So the thought of networking is knowing that you have to physically put that net to work in order for it to be successful, in order for you to move forward and be successful. At the same time, it's important that you know that you are part of someone else's net. So you have to be ready and willing to give as well at the same time. So that's the N in the formula.
Great. And I know for me, when it comes to networking, there are so many websites now, especially for those looking for jobs, between using LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter, and there's a ton of networking going on nowadays. So not only is it physically meeting people face-to-face, it's also doing it online, providing value to other people. But also, why don't we just continue on with the formula, the P?
Okay, so the P's, we'll put them together.
The P's.
That's all right. We have purpose and passion. And really looking at purpose is looking at, well, why do you think you're here? And focusing on that. Once again, looking inward in terms of what am I put here to do? That's one of the things that I focus on. And then also passion now is what do I like to do? The analogy that I like to use really for passion is thinking about, we just went through the Boston Marathon. It's looking at, imagine that you are an elite athlete and you come from a family of elite athletes, and from the time you were born we knew that you were going to be an elite athlete. This is what you must do. You may or may not even want to or like it, but this is what you're going to do. You go, you win the marathon, and you get on a plane and you're just yawning. It's no big thing to you. Then again, there's this other guy who busted his butt, he came in last, right? But this is his passion, this is what he wants to do. So as soon as he crosses that finish line, last, the next thing that comes out of his mouth is, when do I sign up for the next one? Right? So kind of making that analogy between what keeps you in the game and keeps you excited. So that's the passion part of it.
I can tell you, for me, like my background is I'm somebody trying to make my way into political talk radio, and excuse me, I personally feel that my purpose is to be a very great political talk show host, and that's what I've been trying to work toward. And I know I have that purpose, and I know that I have that passion, because that's, my God, after working 10 years doing things that I didn't really like doing in the IT industry, I've been working so hard, working toward my goal, and I definitely have the purpose, definitely have the passion. Not so much on the networking side. I do some networking, but I always have a tough time making the networking really work for me. I don't know if you have any ideas off the top of your head right now.
A couple of things when it comes to networking and going back to it. Personally, what I do is I go in there, let's say if we have to go in a room and you don't really know people, it's really looking at why you're really there. If the thought is, and the focus is on, I'm here to shake hands, it makes it a little bit tougher. But there's usually something behind that. There's a reason, there's something you're trying to accomplish. It may be getting work. It may be just increasing your social network. So keeping what's really the reason you're there top of mind. And also looking at the thought of service, right? That what can I offer this person? The next person whose hand I shake is the person that I am going to help. You know, so it takes less pressure off of it. You already have value that you can provide to them. You know,
why don't we continue on to the next one, the letter M.
Okay, so M, there's three of them. We have meaning, mentor, and money. So the first one is meaning. So now we're looking outward, and it's really, what do you have to provide to the world? That's what meaning is all about. You know, where do you want to have an impact? The example that I'll share from my own personal experience is, you know, I worked at a, I don't know if I should say names, but I worked at a, you know, with a company. I used to work at UConn, and I worked with a company where most people would consider it very appealing what I did. Basically, where I sit and where you are, you would be the basketball court, and this is where I sat. That was my job. Everything that the announcer said is what I wrote. That's what I did in marketing. But there was something missing for me. I couldn't make the connection between what I did every day and what the big thing was, what the big deal was, so I left. Right? So the understanding of meaning, which is something that each individual has to find out for themselves, but that's an important thing when it comes to the end of the equation, which really is fulfillment and doing things that satisfy you at the end of the day.
And that is, by all means, what I'm trying to accomplish in my own life. I think for most people, that's what everybody's looking for, that they're looking to do a job, get paid to do it, and really at the end of the day be happy. And between networking, purpose and passion, meaning mentor and money. Did we cover mentor? No, we didn't even get to mentor and money yet. So tell us about the rest of those.
Okay. So mentor now, as we know, as they say, I don't remember whose quote it is, but no man is an island. Right? And the thought of just doing everything by yourself makes it that much tougher. It's not as much fun. So mentor is really allowing yourself to open up and reach out to people who have done the things that you aspire to do. That's what mentor is all about, is being able to connect with someone else who is at a different level and a different place than where you are, but where you want to be. So that's all part of the formula that had to be in there. You know, I can jump right into the last one, money. And when I came up with the formula, I was in a place where it's a little questionable as far as money. You know, am I supposed to ask for more? Should I? Could I? All those things that come up, and I know some of your audience members probably have the same question. But I quickly realized that all money does is allows you to amplify all the other things that you're trying to do. I have a mentor who uses this analogy, and it's, hey, when you get on a plane and they talk about the oxygen mask coming down, who do they tell you to put it on first?
Yourself.
Yourself. And that's so, because if you don't have it, you can't help anyone else. So understanding that's the same way that I view money is, you know, get it and make sure that you can amplify all the things that you're trying to do. So that's the money portion of it.
Yeah, there's also those models like between your professional life, spiritual life, and I'm trying to remember the last one, but there are all these different formulas and different philosophies on how to have a happy life, and this seems to me to be a pretty solid one, because we're all trying to be happy with our jobs and what it is that we do. So, so what would you describe as your overall philosophy?
There's two philosophies that I'll share with you, and then I'm also going to give you a little bit of background on where this came from. So the philosophy, first one is run the point, and that's to take action. from where you are with what you have, right? Because you can't do it from anywhere else.
And I think that's an excellent point. After watching a bunch of your YouTube videos on ambassadorbruny.com,
Yes.
I was very surprised how run the point. I'm not a basketball guy at all, but it is amazing. I can tell you from my own experience. I come from an engineering background, so whenever I want to do something, I want to make sure I have every single piece solidly down before I actually do anything.
Of course.
And what does that ultimately do? It usually just creates a big roadblock, and you delay things.
Yeah.
So starting off with what you actually have and getting action done. So
that's what Run the Point is all about. And a lot of times what you'll discover is once you take action, all kinds of things start to happen. There's a gentleman who I met at a conference one time who he went to Wharton, and he said the most valuable thing that he learned there was what he called the corridor theory. And the corridor theory basically says that, you know, when you look down a corridor, you can only see so far from where you stand, right? But once you start to actually take steps, you start to see further down the corridor, and you can see more. Things start to open up that you didn't expect. So it's the same thing with taking action. You really don't know what's going to happen until you start to move. Then things really start to happen.
So run the point.
From where you are,
From
with
where
what
you
you
are.
have. The second philosophy is don't die with your music inside you. Right? So that's a thought for all the folks who are in different positions and they feel stuck. And I used to love doing X, Y, Z. Make time. Find time for X, Y, Z. If it means 1 hour a week, let it be 1 hour a week. Even in your current situation, learn to create. Learn to create from where you are in your job. You know, it may be you'll be doing some extracurricular activities, but start a group. You know, let's say you love public speaking and that's your thing. So start a public speaking group. Now you're engaging that part of you, and it's only going to make your job that much better. What you do between 9 to 5.
Well, there's also, for unemployed people and those of you who have been watching the New England Job Show for a long time, being unemployed is a wonderful opportunity to actually go ahead and go after what it is that you want to do. Just like, oh gosh, I'm trying to think, Lady Gaga has a lyric about, or she says everybody has a rock star within inside of themselves. And life, you only go through it once. You have to go for whatever it is that you want to do. So, and that's what I'm trying to do. That's what a lot of people that I know are trying to do.
That's great, Brian. And you bring up Lady Gaga. You bring up Lady Gaga, and it makes me... No,
it's not hip-hop.
It doesn't make me go to hip-hop. It actually makes me go to Einstein. And this quote, and I know I'm going to mess it up, but it talks about everyone is a genius, right? But if you measure that genius, like if you measure a fish by how well he climbs a tree, he'll spend his whole life thinking he's stupid, right? So it's understanding we all have a place that we play in, you know, and in the job search and when we're looking, yeah, it can be discouraging, but you have to try and find where do you fit in.
And we are coming up on our first break here. Let me just also mention that, again, Ambassador Mike Bruny's book is called Move the Crowd, 30 Days of Hip-Hop Affirmations to Change Your Life. And his website is ambassadorbruny.com, and we are the New England Job Show. Our website is nejs.org. My name is Brian Henchy. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back here with some more New England Job Show.